Brooklyn. Only if you know how I'm feeling today. It get that in my body, he did to me today. It be like say, I go get a lot. It be like say, as I go shake. It be like say, I can't go. It be like say, let the island go land. Oh, good morning, you go make money this morning. Good evening, you go get a lot this evening. Oh, good morning, you go make money this morning. Good evening, you go get a lot this evening. Basket, basket, oh yeah, one go no be $1. Basket, basket, oh yeah, zobo no be minera. Basket, basket, so far no be sugar. Basket, basket, oh yeah, zobo no be minera. It's Graham D Baba. Till tomorrow. Love no plan we gonna get for you. Yeah.
You're so dope, man. The Bisco Sugar on the beat.
Music, sports,
Towards Lukaku.
entertainment, politics, all on your darling station, Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha.
Said this morning I woke up and I look in the mirror and every part of my body was in place. Many people died and never saw this day. So another day I live, I appreciate. Don't ever wanna act too high and mighty, cause tomorrow I can fall down on my face. So in everything, Lord, I give you praise, and that puts a smile on my face. Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day. Don't fuss and fight, let us unite. We got one life, so let's make it right. It's a beautiful day, yeah. It's a beautiful day. So yeah, though I walk through the valleys of the shadows of death, I will fear no evil, won't be dismayed. When I see the clock ticking away and things are not in place, everything in life happens for a reason. Disappointment comes with a lesson. It's for me to get wiser, got to work harder. In the end, it will get better. Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Please don't fuss and fight. Let us unite. We got one life, so let's make it right. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. If you got life, then give God praise. You may not.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. We're grateful for the gift of life. We're grateful for the brightness of the morning. We're grateful for the sun. When it rains, we are also thankful because all of this also contribute to us having a conducive environment. It's the morning show on Vicinity 105.3 FM. I'm Lua from Israel.
Hello, I'm Paul Etten. Good morning.
Yeah, so today it's Wednesday. You know how we do it on Wednesday, but sadly, this story is not giving anyone joy. Because in Imo State, there's been this outbreak of diphtheria since last year because the agency responsible for monitoring some of this outbreak of these diseases. I've been keeping tabs on the outbreak of diphtheria. And recently, there is this report that in Imo State, in a particular local government, schools around that local government have been shut down due to the outbreak of that disease because some students died, and then they decided that okay, students or pupils should stay at home to allow them contain this particular disease. This morning, we're grateful that we have a doctor in the house who will be, because do you know what diphtheria is? I only know it's a communicable disease and it kills, but really. So at this point, we will be joined by Dr. Olusodo, who would be telling us what this disease means and what it all entails. Good morning, Dr. Adeolu Olusodo. Good morning to you, sir. Hello, good morning.
It's plenty, no be mouth, no joju more I dey count. My blessings I dey count.
Good morning to you, sir, Dr. Adeolu Olusodo.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you. Thank you for affording us the time. It's so impromptu this morning. Thank you for your time.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah, so there's this recent report on the outbreak of diphtheria in Imo State that a particular local government area had to shut down schools in this environment because some children died due to this disease. Can you tell us what diphtheria means and how we can, identify this disease maybe by its symptoms and what we should do so that it can be contained?
Yeah, actually, diphtheria is a serious bacterial infection that affects the nose and the throat. It's a very serious one. It's unlike the normal probably flu or whatever someone will get. It's a very serious one. And basically the symptoms of diphtheria, there's a thick membrane normally that covers the throat and the tonsils. Yes. And that can be identified by medical personnel and some also elderly people that knows that have seen it before. Yes. There's a sore throat. Actually, that's the first thing the patient will complain of. There's a sore throat. The person feels when you swallow and you feel pain, swallow water, or swallow food. So that will be there. And then there'll be fever and chills. And there could also be something, what we call catarrh, nasal discharge. Those are the things the person will feel. So sometimes it may just look like the normal flu that people has, but it's a serious one. So the intensity of the cough and the sore throat actually is what will make doctors to see the covering on the throat and tonsils, and that is what normally that's how to know that this person has diphtheria. Yeah.
And how is this tested? Maybe if we are not, we do not have access to, big health centers, maybe primary health care. Do you think primary health care can diagnose this particular?
The personnel at the primary health care level are trained to be able to identify diphtheria and be able to give the appropriate antibiotics. Like I said, it's a serious one. And unlike the normal sore throat people have, the how fast it progresses, and the sore throat starts from just little pain to a serious one. It's so short. So at least that we have been able to make the person know that this thing is serious, and the health personnel also will see the seriousness. And by the time they examine the throat, they would have seen that the characteristic membrane covering of the tonsil. So they know definitely the person will need antibiotics. And that's what they have to just quickly give, so that they can prevent the deterioration of that infection.
So antibiotics can easily cure this particular
Yes,
symptoms
yes. When it's administered very early
very
and
early.
aggressively as well. Yeah.
So when does it result to death?
Why?
When does it result to death if it's not,
When it's left untreated, definitely as human beings, the air we take in goes through our throat,
our throat,
goes
yes.
through the nose, passes through the what we call the pharynx into where we are going to get into the lungs.
Lungs,
So if
yeah.
there's that covering and the infection becomes worse, then the person will not be able to get as much oxygen that is needed to continue to survive, and that's why it leads to death.
Okay, Dr. Olusodo, for people who cannot access, medical centers or primary health care in their environment, do you think there's a home remedy to this thing?
Yeah, pardon?
Do you think there's a way they can remedy this disease through maybe some things homemade at home?
Of course. Yeah, vaccination. Vaccination is a good one. It's one part of the vaccinations that are given to children in the first year of life. So it's vaccination is one of the things that can really help to keep it in check. And now that you said there are skilled people in that part of the country, and I believe the Ministry of Health there would have probably gone on a massive campaign to ensure that children and young people, even elderly, susceptible elderly people are already quickly vaccinated to prevent them from coming down with diphtheria and having the complication of that that lead to death.
Among children and adults, do you think children are mostly affected or adults, or it's just the same thing if we catch the disease?
Children are much more at risk, and sick elderly people also are much more risk. Okay. Of course.
For young adults, we can still manage it. It's not something
young adults, young adults actually. Children, young adults, they are more susceptible to it. The elderly people, especially those that are sick, are also very susceptible to having severe complications when they have diphtheria.
When it's treated, maybe you don't have the vaccination, but you treat it with antibiotics. Do you think a person can be exposed again to the disease if the person comes in contact with?
No, of course, once it's treated, the person becomes well again, and there's no telltale sign that the person has bacteria. The important thing, like I said, is effective treatment with antibiotics.
But when you're vaccinated, can you also be exposed to disease again when it's...
The person can be exposed again.
Even with vaccination?
Like measles now, when someone has measles and all those ones, person cannot come down again. So diphtheria is something that the vaccination gives good coverage, but the likelihood of still coming down with the infection is there, and that's why people have to be careful. So it's spread through droplets. So when you notice someone is having something that is like that, coughing and having sore throat and fever and stuff like that, people around should be very careful. So you don't just touch surfaces and at the same time you put that your hand in the mouth or in the nose and things like that. So there should be the normal and washing of hands, cleaning of surfaces with what we call these sanitizers and stuff like that. Then the person that's having such also should not be allowed to be coughing into the air unnecessarily. So those are the things that need to be put in check, in place.
Okay, you mentioned that even with vaccination, person can still be exposed, be at risk of this disease. So what's the relevance of the vaccination?
No, vaccination, of course, reduces the spread and reduces chances of the person picking it. Of course, it does. But it gives a significant coverage for the person. So what we don't just say we don't need it. It's very important. It's needed. But just that, even if one is vaccinated, one needs to be very careful not to expose oneself to the bacteria.
Since a disease like this is communicable, if you have someone who is infected by it, do you think everybody should just go get themselves treated or wait and see if they suffer the symptoms before they get medical care?
No, the thing is that once someone is detected like that, everybody should be very careful, wear protective mask, so that the droplets will not come into you when the person coughs or something like that. Like I said, use of sanitizers. Don't just touch surfaces around the person and you use your hand, put in your mouth, or you put in your nostrils. Those are very important. Then you don't just treat if you don't have.
Oh, you don't just
That's
treat.
the thing.
Oh.
You don't just go ahead and be using antibiotics when you don't even have diphtheria. So it just has to be confirmed that the diagnosis that, okay, you're having sore throat, you're having fever, then of course replace on antibiotics. So it is not advisable that people just go ahead and start treating the bad diphtheria when they have not been diagnosed of that being having diphtheria.
So, like the situation in Imo, an isolation center was set up by the Imbutu Health Center where health workers have been deployed to quarantine children. So,
yes, people that have cough, or they have sore throat, fever, and you cough with it should be quarantined until they are treated and they know that they cannot spread the bacteria again. There is need for, especially when it's on the epidemic level like this, there should be a quarantine for people that have the symptoms. It's very important.
Okay, Dr. Osodo, before we allow you go this morning, do you think there's food we can eat that will lessen the risk of contacting this disease?
No. It's
Not
not
at all.
about food, actually.
Okay.
The only thing is just that once you eat good food, good food that will help to boost one's
your
immunity.
immune,
You understand?
All right.
Antioxidants and fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
And smoking should be discouraged. Alcohol intake should be discouraged. Be minimal if it's taken at all. Not too much of fatty and oily things. Those are the general consideration for eating, for nutrition.
Yes.
That one has to take so that one's immunity is not down.
It's not down.
But the important thing, like I said, is early detection, early aggressive treatment, quarantine for those who already have it, vaccination for those who are not vaccinated, because the vaccination lasts for 10 years.
Oh.
And that's why even for all the children that have been vaccinated, by the time they are in secondary school, the government should try as much as possible to vaccinate everyone again. Because the vaccine lasts for just 10 years. After 10 years, the person is liable, is open
again.
to having the infection. Yes.
Okay, so you spoke about the symptoms which are sore throat and fever and cough, but these are same symptoms when you are having cough. You know, the normal cough, you have sore throat, and sometimes let's say if the cough comes with malaria, you have fever. What are the difference that from the beginning, you know, sometimes some people will feel, okay, it might just be maybe cough and malaria, and
So
they
they'll
just go to
treat
the
something
pharmacy.
else.
Yes, they just go to the pharmacy and just get drugs. What is that specific symptom that if you get, you will know that you have this disease?
Yeah, and like I said, the most important is the sore throat. You know, most people have sore throat, and by the time you even use some local remedy and stuff like that, the sore throat will regress and disappear. But for diphtheria, the sore throat gets worse quickly. Gets worse with time quickly. You know, small pain before like 6 hours, 2 hours, already the pain is getting worse, and even breathing becomes a bit problematic. You know, this progression takes just few hours, and that's what will make the person to put, you know, I have to go and seek medical
help.
And it's the rate, it's the speed at which the sore throat gets worse that should make the health officer to know that this thing is serious. They have to quickly examine the throat and start antibiotics immediately. So the sore throat is the significant thing. Then fever. It's not everyone that has sore throat that has fever. Most sore throat people don't have fever with it. But when you have sore throat and you're already having fever, high-grade fever and stuff like that, definitely you know that this is a serious issue. Yeah.
All right, thank you for joining us this morning. So what's your advice you give to people listening in the house and know what to do and the measures to take so as to, you know, contain this particular spread of disease?
Yeah, of course. Definitely for people listening, once there's anything that happens to us and it's like it's getting serious, we should not do self-medication. That's mostly what kills people in this part of the world. We do a lot of self-medication. It's important to seek medical help. Go to the nearest hospital or clinic, get attended to by a qualified health personnel, and let them be able to know what is happening to you. Because mostly, like I said, if the sore throat is getting worse with time, the health officer will know that something is happening and there will be quick intervention. So people should stop self-medicating and ensure they seek medical attention whenever they have any issue. That's it's very important.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning, Dr.
Yeah,
Adeyemo
you're welcome. It's
Osulu.
my
I
pleasure.
appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Yes. Do have yourself a great day.
Okay.
It's for me to get wiser. Got to work harder. In the end, it will get better. Lord, I thank you for
So there you have it this morning, diphtheria. Well, we don't have to wait until it gets to us because we've even seen the spread of this disease in the southwest. Even in Osun, I think late last year we heard of people who contaminated this, and of course it was easily tamed. But let's not say this will not happen again. The outbreak since last year we've been treating this particular situation of diphtheria, and painfully yesterday was Children's Day, and children in Imo died because of this. But sometimes some symptoms, and when it comes to symptoms can be really tricky.
Yeah.
A particular symptom might be telling you that you can have cough might
Yes,
it's
like,
not just a symptom for one disease.
that was why I asked if
Yes.
you have cough,
But
because sometimes there are some cough that you get and then you start feeling, that some cough that actually comes with high temperature. You have high
Yes,
temperature and all,
fever.
but at least we know now. We know
you
that.
said that it's going to, your
Yes,
suffering
once
will be
it's
so severe, and
severe,
then you feel like
yes,
that's the way you feel in your body. You know that
Yes.
this one over the counter medicine will not do it. But some people can be stubborn.
Yeah,
They still will tell you
yeah.
that nothing. Let's go over the counter and buy something, joy, to clear the old
Yeah.
whatever symptoms. But please, when you see that something is severe, do visit the hospital, a primary health care, wherever, medical centers around you. Don't do, sometimes people do it because they're playing economy. It's because of economy. You go by the, yeah, it's true. You go by the counter because they tell you, I don't want to go to the hospital and they now diagnose something that's big.
Big,
But it's
yeah.
your health we're talking
Yeah.
about here. How much is too much for you to treat something that's just still the symptoms? It's painful to have lost these children to something as easy as okay, let me not call it easy. A disease like this that can easily be treated. And they say young people, young adults, children, young adults, and elderly are mostly affected because, of course, their immune is very sensitive at that point, and anything can trigger a lot. And painfully, I sympathize with the parents of these children. And I keep saying yesterday was Children's Day. These children didn't get to celebrate Children's Day. It's painful. Honestly, it's painful. And at this point, I just say that, especially when we see our children, and sometimes children, thank God for the severity of the symptoms, because sometimes children will have something you wouldn't know.
You won't know, true.
You just see them running up and down because they want to join their mates to run, jump, and but thank God, because the severity will make them, there's a way that something would hold you, and then you won't even want to move. So let's, quickly, when we say our children are not what they used to do, when they don't do what they used to do, just quickly, talk to them and know what's going on.
Yeah.
You see children jumping up and down, you just see that one day the child will just go sit somewhere and be looking at you like this, like, come,
Of
what
course.
is wrong with you?
I know children are very, very vulnerable to most of
yeah.
this disease, because when they say wash your hands regularly, children, I
Don't
mean,
wash
they go to
hands,
school now,
pick
they
things on
always
the
pick
floor,
things,
eat it.
go to school, they touch all surface, you understand? So it's really, really, really sad, because this disease, I mean, it's like you said, Children's Day, and this kind of thing happen. It's really, really sad, and you just have to be cautious and take preventive measures.
Preventive measures.
Yes, so we can curtail this disease. It's just like during the COVID period, the same thing. Just some funny enough, some symptoms, COVID actually, like, just normal symptoms. But what I think what differentiates COVID with other disease was the fact that you won't be able to perceive. Understand? You lose all sense of smell. Yes. So we just have to be cautious, and we shouldn't take any illness, no matter how little it is. We shouldn't take it for granted and just say, oh, fine, this is, yes, we should. seek
It's just cough.
medical attention.
Yes.
Exactly, just cough. You know, we have sore throats. Yeah, you have sore throat. You go and buy one of
And
these.
it's not expensive.
stuff
Even
for
going to
cough.
a medical centers, they say they will give you antibiotics or you get vaccine. We don't pay for vaccine. In any part of the world, vaccine is free. Except the only vaccination I know is not free. Is when you want to travel and you want
yes.
to get this particular. Is it polio vaccine? I don't know. Is it polio? I can't say. But there's this vaccine they give you at the airport when they say for your yellow card.
Yes.
So you must get vaccinated because they don't want somebody traveling from another country bringing something funny into their
Funny,
country.
yes.
So I think somehow you get to pay for that. That's the only vaccine I know you get to pay for. Or any other vaccine, treating other, no, you don't pay for it. It's free.
It's true.
And, hospitals, most of primary health care centers, somehow, that's why they're called primary health care. They are the first responders, to any form of issue you're bringing to them. If it's now severe, they refer you to other medical centers that can take care of whatever situation at hand. But primary health care centers are to address what's on ground. It's not just like first aid.
Yes.
Above first aid, it's just the first responders. Yes, they give you medical support, and if they see that it's beyond them, they go and they don't take money. Across 36 states in the country, we see that some governments are trying. Even in Osun states here, Governor Ademola Adeleke is trying to revamp some of the primary health centers here. Even the one we have in Ikejile, you go there and tell them the symptoms you have. There are test kits. They test you and give you the appropriate medication. And they say wait until 3 days. Until 3 days, if you don't see any changes, of course, if they know they can't handle it, they refer you to other places. All this self-medication will not do you good. Anytime you just feel headache, you just know that this is, let me just go and buy painkiller to take care of it, and that's all. But sometimes these symptoms, especially when that's why I say when it's beyond 3 days, seek your doctor, because when you keep taking over-the-counter medicine for a week and you're not seeing changes, it should tell you that something is bigger than whatever you think you're feeling. So seek medical attention. Let's not always fear that medical attention is expensive. No, it's only when it's beyond the normal, health challenges.
Yes.
We don't want to talk about when it's terminal. That's when we know that this one is money, and we don't pray to have terminal diseases.
We don't
that
at
will
all.
finish all. Even for a rich person, if you have terminal disease, it will, consume every financial whatever you have.
Of course.
We don't pray for that.
don't
We
pray
shouldn't
for
wait until that. Another thing I want to say is when you have these simple symptoms of some of these disease, it's another way to catch other things you have that you don't even know. Because some disease don't even have symptoms; they don't show.
Yes.
So it's when they reach a
When you
very
reach it,
deadly stage that you start to show. Sometimes when you go for treatment for simple symptoms, they can easily detect other things, because some tests that are general tests can detect other things,
true.
and then they'll just tell you, wait, though we did test for this, but come, it's like we are seeing something else, and then you can easily catch some things. And there's something they call genetic mapping. So maybe you know that in your family history there's this particular illness that you suffer in your family. So there's this it's a medical whatever, let me not call it theory, but it's a medical finding. They call it genetic mapping. So it helped them discover if that can be traced to you. Because if people have died of cancer in your family, of course we can trace that. Okay, let's see if you also may fall. There's a likelihood that you're exposed. You also may likely. So they try to find out how they can easily, catch yours on time, so it doesn't generate to something that will start, begging God. Yes, now start begging God, and maybe not have a situation that will bring us online and start begging for financial aid.
Amen.
Because of we want to treat a disease. Because when it's beyond you, you have to come online and seek medical and seek financial help. Tell people, please help me. I have this, I have that. They're asking us to pay 10 million naira. We don't want our situation to get to that stage.
God forbid.
And this is where we get to wrap it up on the morning show this morning. We appreciate our guest on the show, Dr. Adeolu Olusodo, who afforded us the time to actually explain what diphtheria is about. Because for me, it's normal cough.
It's normal soul truth
Yeah,
that
it's not
it's normal
hard
soul
to
truth we always
You
have.
just gotta take care. You know, it's not. You don't even need medicine. There are some of these men.
Yes,
That
me
will
that
tell you just
yes.
take it and enjoy yourself. It's sweet, and you'll be fine. But when you see you take mint and it's not doing anything, you have to ask yourself, am I sure I'm doing the right thing, or I should seek medical attention? Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Do you want to know that diphtheria is real? It
Yeah.
kills,
And
or
also,
it can be treatable.
please, if you are having sore throat, do not panic.
Yeah.
Because this now will cause panic. You have sore throat, you start panicking. You might. Please do not panic. It might just be a normal
Normal sore throat.
sore
Maybe
throat.
you inhale
Yes.
something.
Just pay attention to yourself. If you know that it's becoming severe, seek medical attention. But do not panic. This shouldn't cause panic in you or anyone.
What they say, Mugbe, diphtheria. I'm in trouble during COVID-19. The moment you just start, sometimes you even start forcing the sore throat. Like, am I sure this is not sore throat? Something is happening to me. Calm down, calm down. It might be something else. Not necessarily diphtheria, but we're not saying don't ignore the symptoms anyway.
Pay attention to yourself, your body, your health.
Pay attention to yourself. Yeah, this has been great. I'm afraid this is where we get to say bye on the show. Thank you for joining us this morning. The executive producer is here, Adeshola Salami. See, we'll come away tomorrow. I'm Oluwafunke Israel. Have yourself a great day.
And I'm Paul Etting.
It's a beautiful day. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. So yeah, go I walk through the valleys of the shadows of death. I will fear no evil, won't be dismayed when I see the clock ticking away and things are not in place. Everything in life happens for a reason. Disappointment comes with a lesson. It's for me to get wiser, got to work harder. In the end, it will get better. Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy, thank you for pain. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.